Hello friends! Be careful in Australia, because it doesn't only have a warm climate and beautiful coral reefs, but also the most dangerous animals on the planet. More mammals live there than anywhere else on Earth. In Canberra, Australia, a local resident was walking by the road when he noticed a creature resembling a puppy on the roadside. It was crawling in the muddy puddles that hadn't dried out yet after the rain. The man came closer and realized that the animal was injured and it wasn't a puppy at all. The man didn't pick up the creature for safety reasons, because it is impossible to predict how a wild animal would behave. Qualified assistance was needed, as the animal was apparently hit by a car. The man immediately called the ACT Wildlife Care Group. Unfortunately, the animal's injuries were fatal. But the rescuers didn't come in vain. The unidentified creature turned out to be a female wombat, and to everyone's surprise, there was a baby wombat in her pouch. Wombats are marsupials of the family Wombatidae of the order Diprotodontia. They are herbivores, and they look like small bears or giant hamsters. The joey was scared and covered in mud. It was emaciated and very weak, so it was first taken to a vet clinic. Soon, the wombat began to recover and was named Elsie. It was a female. 6 months later, Elsie found herself a foster mother, Helen, who was going to take care of her until the wombat was independent enough to go and live in the wild. When Elsie was rescued, she weighed only 120 grams. Wombats are born very small and spend a long time developing in their mother's pouch. Now, Elsie is almost an adult wombat. Baby wombats are very similar to human children, said Lindy, coordinator of the ACT Wildlife Group, because they need a lot of communication with their mother's body. They spend the first 8 to 9 months of their life in her pouch. In infancy, they're cute, playful, and affectionate. But in adolescence, they can be angry and even aggressive. Fun fact, there's a Wombat Day in Australia, which is celebrated on October 22nd. People wear t-shirts depicting this animal, they visit zoos, and bake cookies. Wombats live only in Australia and are protected by local law. Why are they so loved in Australia? Let's learn a little more about this cute Australian endemic animal. Wombats use their sharp claws to dig caves in the ground, which sometimes turn into complex tunnel systems. Most of these systems are typically about 20 meters long and 3.5 meters deep. If the caves of individual wombats intersect, they can be used by different individuals at different times. Wombats are active at night, when they come out in search of food. During the day, they rest in their shelters. Adult wombats have almost no natural enemies. One of the few are dingoes that were imported by man. The Tasmanian devil may also be of danger. The wombat's rump is extremely hard thanks to the thick skin, cartilage, and bones. In case of danger, they use their backs to block the entrance of their hole, thus holding off most of the attackers. They can also crush the attacker's limbs against the walls of their cave. Wombats have a kind of shield on their rump, which protects them from an attack from behind. Wombats can also inflict strong blows with their heads. They headbutt like rams or goats. If a dog tries to get into a wombat's hole, the wombat waits for it in one spot and then tries to drive it into a corner against the cave wall and then crushes it with its rump. Most of the time, people are to blame for the death of a wombat. In particular, many wombats die under the wheels of cars. In areas where human impact is low, The population of wombats is determined by the availability of sustainable food. Wombats breed throughout the year, except in arid regions where their breeding is more seasonal. Wombat pouches are backward-facing, which allows females to avoid getting soil over their young when digging. Despite the fact that the females have 2 nipples, only one joey is born and raised at the same time. The offspring grows in the mother's pouch for 6 to 8 months and stays close by for the next year. Wombats are rather good-natured. They are affectionate and can be tamed easily. They can live in a human house and can even be trained, to some extent. So, they are sometimes kept as pets in Australia. However, certain caution is required when dealing with wombats, especially the wild ones. They are shy, not too smart, and like with many marsupials, their behavior is difficult to predict. Mistaking the actions of a person for aggression, they can bite or inflict a serious wound with their sharp claws in defense. Well, that's all for today, friends. Have you ever seen a wombat? Share your thoughts about this episode in the comments. Like the video, and we'll see you next time.